screen. All right, everybody should see a pile of big splinters and little splinters in front of them. I hope you see that. Everybody does? Good. All right. As you might imagine, today's topic is splinter bids per Patty's request. Splinters are not employed to the extent that Jacoby 2 no trump is, or the Jacoby forcing raise, depending on what you call it. But both bids are wonderfully designed to be used in a 2-over-1 bidding system, but can in fact be used by anybody using any bidding system if that's your agreement. The advantage to using these bids is that they help identify big fits early, and additionally, they help you determine the degree of fit between the two hands. Very often, hands that don't have the necessary high card points in them will produce a slam because of the degree of fit. And one of the biggest advantages of using Jacoby 2 no trump and splinter bids is they help you find and determine the degree of fit between the two hands. Nobody uses Jacoby 2 no trump or splinter bids to find games. We have lots of ways to find games. These bids' primary value is in helping you find slams that you might not otherwise find. Does that mean that every time you use one of these bids, you're going to bid a slam? Of course not. You know, many times each hand is minimum for their bids and they end up in just game. And that's okay. But my point in saying that we don't use Jacoby 2 no trump and splinter bids to find games is that you can find them in other ways. But these two particular conventions have proven themselves to be valuable additions to your bidding box, simply because of the big fits and the degree of fit. And it's established early. You don't have to bid around for a round or two to find these things out. So I would encourage any of you who are interested in advancing your game that after you've learned those basic 4 conventions really well, and those are stamen, transfers, blackwood, and the negative double, whatever form of blackwood you use, but if you don't have one that you really, really love, I would highly encourage, don't even bother with regular blackwood, learn 1430. Because it gives you so much more information with that bidding system. So what's a splinter bid anyway? Why in the world is it called a splinter bid? To be honest, I'm not quite certain. But there's one big advantage between the Jacoby forcing raise and the splinter raise, and that is, besides these other two that I said, is that immediately the trump suit is set. We don't have to wonder what we're going to play. Now, you may end up in 7 no trump if it turns out somebody can count 13 tricks at the end of the auction. But early on, the trump suit is set. So using the splinter bid sets the trump suit, just like Jacoby 2 no trump does. It limits the responder's hand. This is a major difference between splinter bids and the Jacoby forcing raise. There is no ceiling on Jacoby 2 no trump. You can bid 2 no trump over partner's major suit opening with 22 points in your hand. It sets the trump suit, and then if your partner has shortness, he can show you shortness on the next round. He can describe his strength. He can tell you whether or not he has 6 of them. There's all kinds of information that you can find out. If he's dead minimum, he will just bid game directly. But if you have that kind of hand, obviously you're not going to just let him play game. But the point is here that there is no ceiling on the Jacoby forcing raise. This is a major difference between using Jacoby 2 no trump and a splinter bid. Why do we make that distinction? Splinter bids take up a lot of bidding space. Splinters are usually a double jump, not always, but usually, and that they're one level beyond what would be forcing, is the way it was explained to me by Ron Hinkie a long time ago. When you take up a lot of bidding space, you need a bid that conveys a lot of information, and Splinter bids do just that. They promise at least 4-card trump support, the values to be in game, and either a singleton or a void in the bid suit. These are usually 4-level bids, but if you have the spade shortness, that would be at the 3 level. Showing spade shortness typically is a 3 spade bid, simply because 4 spades often goes beyond where you want to be when you're bidding another suit. So now, any jump to a new suit that is 1 level higher than what is needed to make a forcing natural bid is a Splinter bid. And I know a lot of you are saying, huh? I understand why you're saying that. They are most commonly used following a major suit opening, although I have splintered following a minor suit opening when I don't have a major suit that's anything to write home about. Especially if I have a big fit in the suit that my partner opened that happens to be a minor. So here are some examples. 1 spade, 4 clubs. Many people would use 2 clubs as a 2/1 game force. 3 clubs, depending on your methods, might be a Bergen raise, a reverse Bergen raise, showing a limit raise, or if you don't play reverse Bergen, that would be the mixed raise. Or many people play that one of a major 3 clubs is weak with long clubs and says, I want to play it here, partner, fold them up. But 4 clubs is basically an unused bid. And so some genius, and I don't know who it was, thought up the idea of saying, let's use this bid to convey shortness in that suit with a game going hand and 4+ trumps. So 1 spade, 4 clubs, 1 spade, 4 diamonds, shows diamond shortness. 1 spade, 4 hearts. And yes, it is entirely possible that if partner hasn't had enough coffee yet today, that he may forget and pass that 4-heart bid. It's been known to happen, even in the best of families. Just like Texas transfers sometimes get passed. You know, one no trump 4 hearts. Well, I have played that situation before, and to be honest, it's not a situation I want to repeat. Playing at the game level on a 2-1 fit or a 3-2 fit isn't my idea of a whole lot of fun. But it happens, and the only thing you can do is just laugh and go on. You know, people are human and they sometimes forget. 4 clubs and 4 diamonds are not as likely to be passed, but 4 hearts looks like an I want to play it here, partner bid. And especially when you're just added splinters, it can result in what we call a bidding snafu. But as I said, just laugh about it and go on to the next hand. Now, when hearts have been opened, if we're talking about major suits here, notice that 3 spades is the Splinter bid. That is a double jump because spades are higher ranking than hearts. So 1 heart, 3 spades says, I have enough for game. I have 4-card support for you, and I have a spade, singleton, or void. That enables the opener to have a pretty good idea about how well the hands fit together. The 4 club and 4 diamond bids are exactly the same as they are for a 1 spade opening. So let's look at these. We had rules on the previous slide. Do these bids follow those rules? Well, if partner opens one spade, you can bid 2 clubs. If you play 2/1, that's a game force. So that's fine. 3 clubs traditionally shows clubs, but it might not if you use Bergen raises. So you don't need the jump to 4 clubs to show some type of hand with long clubs, because you have the ability to show that in another way, whether you're strong enough to bid 2 or you're kind of weak and need to bid 3. So 4 clubs is an otherwise unused bid here, and that's why it's used for the splinter. Here are some examples of what you need to use a splinter. My partners and I have agreed that splinter bids will have I won't say narrowly defined point range in them, but I don't splinter with a hand that is worth more than about 14 points total. That is high card points plus distribution, simply because splinter bids take up so much bidding space that if I need the space to explore for slam, it's gone if I use a splinter bid. So I put a top limit of 14 total points on my hands when I use splinters. If I have a hand that's worth more than that, I have good old Jacoby 2 no trump I can haul out. Just because I don't use a splinter bid doesn't mean I don't have a singleton. It may be that my hand is too good in my estimation to splinter, and I want to give myself more room to try to find out whether we have a slam. Now let's look at hand number 1. Hand number 1 has 8 high card points and a singleton in it, and that's a little bit short for me to force to game. This rises to the level of an invitational hand, certainly, but I will use whatever method I have here to show an invitational hand with 4 trumps, 4 card trump support. That may be a direct raise to the 3 level, or it might be a Bergen raise or something else, but whatever you use to show an invitational hand with 4 card support is what you would use with this hand. Hand B here is absolutely perfect for a 4 club raise. It has 11 high card points and a singleton in it and 4 card support. It's a very descriptive bid. I don't know exactly what my partner holds. All I know is he has a hand worth 13 to 21 points that has a 5 card heart suit in it. That's all I know at this point. He could have quite a lot more. He may have a dead minimum. But regardless, he will know exactly what I have. He will know I have a hand worth not more than 14 points with club shortness and 4 card heart support. It doesn't have to be 4-4-4-1. It can be 5-4-3-1, something like that. But my partner will know by my splinter bid pretty close to exactly what I have, because splinter bids are so descriptive. They are very descriptive. Now let's take a look at hand C here. Hand C is a horse of a different color. It has 17 high card points and a singleton in it. I rate this hand to be worth 20 or 21 points in support of hearts. Makes you wonder what your partner opened hearts on, doesn't it? Obviously, his values are in the side suits. But if I were to bid 4 clubs, he might know if a lot of his values are in clubs, and they rate to be. I mean, I've got the ace and queen of spades. His values rate to be in the minor suits. So I'm thinking that we may have a duplication of values here. So if I have this hand, hand C that is, I'm not going to bid 4 clubs. I'm going to bid 2 no trump and see what partner shows me after that. Simply because this hand is very strong, but I have reason to believe that there might be some duplication of values and that it's not suitable for a slam, but I need the room to try to find out. I need the room. So, Jacoby 2 no trump gets my vote on C. Now, here are some sample hands on what partner could hold here. Oh, I said he opened a heart. Let's say he opened a spade. I think I got the wrong symbol on that previous slide. He has 5 spades here in each one of these hands. And he has basically the same holdings, but in one hand here, this hand on the left, if I splinter, you may or may not be able to stop short of slam, but 11 tricks may be too high even if the defense can take 3 diamond tricks off the top. Notice my hand has queen fourth and my partner's hand has 3 small. We have no business being in slam on this hand. But once we get rolling, sometimes it's really hard to stop. But look at the hand on the right. In this instance, 6 spades is a laydown, losing only 1 club trick. I don't think even I could mess that one up. So by limiting a splinter bid to the values for game only, and as I put on this slide here, I restrict it to 9 to 11 high card points. Partner knows not only that he needs a suitable holding in the suit that I bid that shows the shortness, but also some extra values to pursue slam. If I have the extra values needed to pursue slam, I'm going to bid Jacoby 2 no trump instead, because that bid leaves so much more room to try to make a decision on whether a slam is possible or whether you need to stop in game. Now, here's an example from a hand that was played on November the 12th. I didn't put the year in there, but it was not last year because this slide set is older than that. But let's take a look at it here. West opened a spade. Partner East splintered in 4 clubs, and West said 4 spades. It's pretty easy looking at both of these hands to tell that slam depends only on finding the queen of diamonds. You have a heart loser and you have a potential loser in the queen of diamonds, and that's all. At match points, this is a very iffy slam. There were 12 east-west pairs playing this hand, and only 3 of them made 6. 1 pair didn't even find the game, and all the rest of them made 5. If I am looking at a possibility of bidding a slam after something like a splinter bid, I always stop and ask myself, if my partner shows me 2 key cards without the queen of trumps, will I be happy? If I would be happy, I ask. In this case, 2 without the queen isn't good enough to make me happy. A 9-card fit, if my partner doesn't show me the queen of trumps here, I'm not happy. If he shows me only 2 key cards, well, that's fine. I don't know which 2 they are, but I could be missing the ace and queen of trumps here. The thing about 4 no trump is it tells you how many, it doesn't tell you which ones. So in this instance, if my partner shows me 2 without the queen, I'm not happy. So holding this west hand here, I don't ask. This is just my own particular rule, and I do not claim that it works 100% of the time, but it's a pretty reliable rule for me. I'm not the sort of person that is going to feel bad for 2 weeks if I miss a slam that one of my rules kept me from bidding. I don't expect my rules to be right 100% of the time. I only need them to be right 60 or 70% of the time. So in this case, if my partner showed me 2 key cards, no queen of trumps, I would not be happy. I would wish that I had just shut up and passed or bid 4 spades. So having an 8-card fit You really, really, really want to find out about that trump queen. But if you know that there's a 9-card fit, then it becomes a judgment call. Now I know in this particular instance, when my partner splintered, that we have a 9-card fit. That makes it slightly more likely that I can drop a queen, but it's still a judgment call. And my rule that says if my partner shows me 2 without the queen, would I be happy? The answer is no on this hand, so I probably wouldn't ask. I don't know about the rest of you, but when my bid depends on a finesse, I try everything I can think of before I fall back on the finesse, and then usually it doesn't work. So if I know I'm off at least one key card, and there's a possibility that I have another important card that's going to cause me a problem, I don't bid the slam. I don't want to give up a vulnerable game bonus, for instance, on an iffy slam at match points. I don't need to get a top on every hand to do well. Roy, do you have your hand up?
Yes, I do. Can you, in this example here, can you bid a splinter with interference?
That
Say
depends.
north doubles or
Yeah.
bids 2
Okay.
clubs.
That depends on partnership agreement. I know a lot of people who say splinters are always on. Texas is always on. But then I know other people that say Texas transfers are only on as long as it's a jump. And I know other people that say splinters are only on in this particular situation. So in this instance, I would say that that is a matter to discuss with your partner. There's no one right way to do it, Roy.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. If this went 1 spade, 2 clubs by my left-hand opponent, 4 clubs here in my world is still a splinter, but that may not be true for everybody. Some people may say, well, that looks like a Q bid. Well, if I were going to Q bid, I would bid 3 clubs. And I'm not going to show a mixed raise by jumping to the 4 level with only mixed raised values. So it can't be a mixed raise. That just doesn't compute for me. But in general, with interference, splinters, there's usually room to splinter, but whether or not they're on is up to you and your partner. Now,
Is it a responsibility of your partner in face to face to alert that?
to alert it, absolutely. Remember, a splinter bid is not an offer to play in that suit. It's not a natural bid. Therefore, it must be alerted. Just like 2 no trump and Jacoby 2 no trump has to be alerted because it's not an offer to play no trump. Okay, here's one big rule about using a splinter bid. Never use a splinter bid when your singleton is an ace or a king. Well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why wouldn't I want a splinter with a singleton ace? That sounds pretty good to me. Well, here's an example. 1 spade by you with this hand. Yeah, I know it has 16 high card points in it, but we're opening it 1 spade just because. I needed an example. Partner bids 4 diamonds. He says, I have enough for game. I have 4 card spade support, and I have a singleton diamond. Well, that just looks fabulous, doesn't it? My partner has shortness in the suit where I have nothing. When your partner splinters, Mel Cocamero says that you want to have the old Sinatra standard, all or nothing at all. By all, I mean you either want the ace in the suit that partner splintered, or you want to have nothing but trash, like this hand has. One of the two. The intermediate honors are wasted opposite a singleton or a void. You're going to have a really hard time getting a trick with those. If you have the ace and partner has a singleton, you can rough out your other cards in that suit, because remember, partner has 4 trumps. That makes it wonderful if you have the ace in that suit. But it's almost as good if you have nothing but trash here, because you can give up one trick and then rough the other two in the dummy. Now, the hand on the left will produce a slam with no problems at all here. Either one of these hands are hands that partner could have and use a splinter bid if he were so inclined. The hand on the left will produce 6 spades. I mean, it's like taking a walk in the park. You're going to lose a diamond and that's it. I mean, literally, that's it. But if that ace of clubs becomes the ace of diamonds and you now splinter with it, the hand on the right, you're not going to make much more than game. You may lose 2 club tricks, and the ace of, well, no, you've got the ace of trumps. You're going to lose 2 club tricks, at least, if the ace is in the wrong place. If it's not in the wrong place, well, you're going to lose only 1 club trick, but you have a much higher degree of success with the hand on the left than you do with the hand on the right. If you splinter with aces and kings, your partner is going to take a look at his hand, and if he has minor honors in the suit, he's going to discount the value of those honors because he says, well, my partner is short in this suit, and so I'm going to have some difficulty setting up this queen jack 10 here. So this queen and jack are not worth much, and he will sign off in game. So better just to follow the rule and don't splinter with an ace for sure. You do find people who will splinter with a singleton king, and you find a few people who will not splinter with a singleton queen even. So this is the kind of a case where you choose the way you want to do it. I personally do not splinter with a singleton ace or king. If I had the queen, I have to think, well, that's not going to take a trick. Most likely, unless my partner has the ace and the king, it will not take a trick. And so I would not let that stop me from splintering, but you may feel differently about it. All right, well, how does the opener respond? I mean, your partner has splintered. Now what do I do? How do I know what to do? Well, it's like I said earlier. Mel Cocamero, in his book about how to play like how to play like an expert without actually having to be one, I think is the name of it. But it's the only book he's written. If you Google his name, that book will come up because he has not written a second book. And it's a book full of guidelines, I'll say, not necessarily rules. But his rule here is that when your partner splinters, you either want to have the ace or you want to have just trash. So here's the auction 1 spade 4 clubs again. If the auction had started with a limit raise or a jump raise to 2 no trump, the opener over here has to guess whether to stop in game or pursue slam. The 5 level could be too high if the defense can take 3 fast tricks in the weak minor suit. Holding the hand on the left, the opener should bid game only because he has too much in clubs. Partner might have diamond values, he might not. He has splintered in clubs though, so this king of clubs is basically wasted here. You don't need it. You would like to have it in hearts, for instance, and not in the club suit, because partner has said, I have either a singleton or a void. About 95% of the time, that'll be a singleton, but if he has a void, the ace and the king both are wasted. The hand on the left should bid game only, 4 spades. But the hand on the right, having no wasted values in clubs here, knowing that there is at most 1 loser only, can pursue some slam investigation. Remember, partner has a game-going hand. He has 4 trumps. You have enough firepower here with your 14 high card points that you could very well have a slam. This is the thing about splinter bids and Jacoby 2 no trump. Very often hands that are described by these 2 bids end up making slams with far fewer points than would otherwise be required if you were relying on high card strength only. Sometimes, for instance, sometimes when your hands are flat, you don't have, well, not sometimes, all the time, when your hands are flat, you need more power to make a slam than you do when you have distributional values, simply because the distributional nature of the hand limits your losers in some of the suits. So, here are the guidelines for opener following a splinter by your partner. You know that partner will have about a hand worth, in my case, anywhere from 12 to 14 or 15 points, support points. For a lot of people, it'll be in the 13 to 16 support points range. These are total hand evaluation points. The opener needs about 17 hand evaluation points to consider a slam when that's the case. Here's the rule. Make a slam try, which is defined as a Q bid at the 4 level, if your hand has improved following the splinter bid and you have at least 15 total points. If you have a hand that has grown up to be worth 18 or more total points, make a slam try even if your hand hasn't improved, because 18 points, total points opposite a hand in the range of 13 to 16 has an excellent chance of making a slam. So, here's some examples. North opens 1 heart, and this is the South hand. South responds 4 diamonds. This is the first hand that the opener might have. Notice it has quite a nice hand. It has 7, 10, 15 high card points, but notice how much it has improved. Your partner has a diamond, singleton, or void. You have no wasted values in the diamond suit. Now we're playing with a 30-point deck. We don't have to worry about the 10 points in the diamond suit. So this hand is worth a Q bid. In other words, a slam try. You don't want a Q bid 4 spades here. Or well, you could Q bid, depending. Remember, above game level, though, I would bid only first round control. So my Q bid here would be 5 clubs. With the second hand, you have the king, queen, 4th of diamonds in your hand. Those cards are not likely to be worth a full 5 points. If your partner does not have the singleton ace, that means you're going to have to use one of these honors to force out the ace. And in general, folks, when somebody shows shortness in a suit and you hold the ace and you're on opening lead, don't help the declarer by leading out the ace. If he has this kind of hand, you've now set up 2 tricks for him. Lead something else. This is a hand with a bunch of wasted values in diamonds. It has 16 high card points in it, but 5 of them are wasted. This is a game-only hand here. This next one with Jack small, I wouldn't even count that Jack if I'm counting up the points in my hand, simply because it's not an asset. I mean, I might give myself a point for the doubleton after we found a fit, but I'm not counting that Jack when I'm evaluating my hand initially. So this hand doesn't need to improve. It is so strong that it's worth a Q bid anyway. And in this case, that would be 5 clubs. Since I don't show second round control when we're above the game level. And since the suit is hearts, 4 spades would be higher than the game level. So I'm not going to Q bid that spade king there. I would bid 5 clubs because I'm showing first round controls only. Now, here's a topic that is a little controversial in the area of splinter bids. There are a lot of people who don't splinter over minor openings. I'm not one of those people. Splinter bids are very descriptive, and there is such a thing as a minor suit slam after all. Yeah, I know we're all taught to look for 3 no trump when there's been a minor suit opening, but being able to find and effectively bid minor suit slams is a real skill that's worth developing. It's hard. It's a hard skill to learn. I don't always find minor suit slams, and I'm a fairly experienced bidder. The rules for splintering over a minor opening are very similar to those following a major suit opening, with one important difference. It depends on what your requirements are for a minor suit opening. If you guarantee 4 diamonds, when you open 1 diamond, 1 club might be opened on a doubleton. Or either minor might be opened with only 3 cards in it. In either cases, splinter raises of a minor opening need to be more robust than those for a major. In general, I would not splinter without 5 cards in the minor suit. Yes, I know most of the time when partner opens a minor suit, they have at least 4 and often 5. But the way my life goes, if I make that assumption and I splinter with only 4 of them in my hand, well, partner opened a 3-card suit here, and now he's playing a slam in a 4-3 fit, and he's not happy. And you know, the number 1 rule in bridge is keep your partner happy, and I try to follow it. So let's look at this hand right up here in the corner. Partner opened a diamond. If you play inverted minors, you can make a forcing raise to 2 diamonds. If you don't, you can start with a 2 club response, and you may still end up in the best contract. But why would you not think about bidding 3 hearts? This shows enough for game. And in my case, here, excuse me, when my partner opens a diamond, I'm promising 5 card support. I have enough for game, and I have a heart singleton. Isn't that the most descriptive bid that you can make? I love descriptive bids. The more I can tell my partner and the more specific I can be about the nature of my hand, the happier he's going to be, because it will enable him to make better decisions. Better decisions mean better results. So I try to be as descriptive as I possibly can. Now, having said that, I will say also that because game in a minor suit requires 28 to 29 points between the 2 hands, that my point requirement for a splinter bid goes up some. Instead of 9 to 11, I use 12 to 15. Simply because if we don't have a slam, we're probably going to end up in 5 of the minor, 5 diamonds in this case, unless partner has significant heart values. If he has significant heart values, he may say, I think no trump is the better call, because I know you have a heart shortness, but I have a lot of values in hearts over here, and I know you have a good hand, so let's play 3 no trump instead. My hand is much better suited to playing 3 no trump than trying for the diamond slam. So, but still, the splinter bid enables your partner to make the best choice. All right. Now, here are the 3 hands shown for the auction that I was talking about. One diamond by west, 3 hearts by east. This is the East hand right here. Here's your partner's hand. He opened a diamond. Holding only one heart stop, knowing that your partner has either a singleton or a void in hearts, means that you have at most 4 cards between the two of you. That means the opponents have 9 hearts. Are you going to be able to hold up long enough to exhaust one of the players of his hearts? Probably not. 9 outstanding cards are most likely to divide 5-4. That means you cannot disrupt their communication, holding only 3 of them to the ace. If I'm looking at this hand and my partner has shown me heart shortness, I'm probably going to opt for 5 diamonds as being the safer alternative. It's entirely possible that somebody had 6 hearts, but if they did, I bet you they'd be in the bidding somewhere. Now then, here's the next example. Once again, we have 5 wasted high card points in the heart suit. But King, Queen, 10 is a pretty good set of stoppers in the heart suit. They're virtually useless in a high diamond contract that has heart shortness in the other hand. But your partner has game going values. That means he's got to have a little something in clubs. And we know he has good diamonds. He's virtually guaranteed me 5 of them. So I'm probably going to choose 3 no trump with this hand here, rather than a high diamond contract, simply because I have significant strength in the suit where my partner has shown shortness. Now then, this last one has Diamond Slam written all over it. It has no wasted values in hearts. So we have a 30-point deck. After the 3 heart bid, I would Q bid my club ace and see what my partner does after that. Maybe he can Q bid 4 spades and we'll be on our way to 6 diamonds. Hopefully that's the case. Now this next subject is one that is very, very confusing to a lot of people. And a lot of pairs who use splinter bids by responder do not use splinters by the opener. The opener can use a splinter bid, but when you start thinking about what the rules are, you will realize that it requires a different type of hand than the one required for responder to splinter. Look at this hand here that I've shown. West opens a heart with this hand, right? This is a powerful hand, very powerful hand. Opens at 1 heart, and lo and behold, partner bids 1 spade. Criminy, that never happens to me. That never happens to me. Usually my partner will bid 2 diamonds, and I'm thinking, well, yuck, okay. But partner bid a spade. The jump to 4 diamonds is a splinter bid showing 4 card support, 4 spades, shortness in the suit bid, and enough for game. That doesn't mean 12 or 13 points. Remember, your partner promised you only 6 points when he bid over there. So when you force the bidding up to the 4 level, you need to have enough in your hand that game will have a chance, even opposite only 6 points. This is the kind of hand that is required. It has diamond shortness, 18 high card points, a 5 card heart suit. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is a perfect hand for a splinter by opener. You'll hardly ever see one any better. So let's think about it. If you're sitting over there as East thinking, what in the world does 4 diamonds mean? Oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? Take a deep breath and think for a minute. 2 diamonds would just be a rebid, a normal, natural, forward-going free bid, rebid. Three diamonds is a game-forcing jump shift. Nearly every pair around considers a jump shift by the opener to be a game force. It would show hearts and diamonds. Well, partner didn't bid two diamonds, he didn't bid three diamonds. He bid a suit that is one beyond the game forcing level. That makes it a splinter. A splinter bid is one level higher than what would be a game forcing bid. And so that's how you can figure out what that four diamond bid means if you take a deep breath and relax instead of freezing up. I myself tend to freeze up and look like a deer caught in the headlights sometimes. And my mind is racing, but if I just remember to calm down and think for a minute, sometimes the answer actually comes to me. So when you get in a situation like this and you feel like you're never going to think of what it is that your partner is telling you, I don't know. Gosh, did my partner misclick? What's going on here? But if you relax, take a deep breath, the answer has a better chance of coming into your head. If it doesn't, just make the most natural bid you can think of. Don't ever pass because you don't know what a bid means. Remember, all strange bids are forcing. Splinter bids by openers look strange, don't they? Well, in this case, you need to just make the most natural bid you can if you have forgotten. But the main point here that I'm making is that a splinter by opener requires a strong hand because it is game forcing and sets the trump suit. Here are a couple more of examples of this. Here's the auction. One heart, one spade, four diamonds. This is opener's hand as we had before. Here is responder's hand. Notice he has five spades. That's amazing. Partner has shown diamond shortness. Your partner opened one heart. You have a singleton, but partner has splintered, guaranteeing enough for game, opposite only 6 points. What's the likelihood that partner doesn't have the ace of hearts? I suppose there's some chance that he doesn't, but the odds are pretty good that he does because he's promised me a hand worth in the neighborhood of 19 or 20 points. And then I also have a club honor. Oh my goodness. It has tremendous trick-taking potential. If my partner here bids four diamonds, I'm probably going to Q bid. I mean, I might not, since I know there's diamond shortness in my partner's hand, and I don't have two fast losers anywhere. I might just bid four no trump right off, because if I Q bid five clubs, then I'm gone past four no trump. That's not always a bad thing. It's entirely possible to bid a slam using only Q bids. But most people are a little reluctant to try that. But now watch what happens if the minor suit holdings are reversed. Now all of a sudden that king of diamonds doesn't look so hot. Partner has a singleton and we know it's not the ace. I have four small clubs over here. Absolutely nothing. That's when I pull out the four spade card and I get it on the table as fast as I can, saying, if you bid any further than this, it's at your own risk, partner. This is it. This is the way the partner of the splinter bidder evaluates his hand in terms of, should I go on or should I pass? It's not rocket science. You either want to have all or nothing at all. And in this case, the responding hand doesn't have it. He doesn't have the ace of diamonds, and he doesn't have nothing at all. Almost half his points are in that diamond king, and it is not going to be of any use to his partner. Now, a lot of you play 2/1. I do. Can you still use splinter bids? I mean, we're all taught when we learn to play 2/1 that in a 2/1 auction, you don't go jumping around. That means that the requirements for a splinter bid change because we're in a game forcing auction. I don't need to have a whole gob of points to splinter following a 2/1 response by my partner because he has enough for game. I already know that. That means that opener needs only about 13-ish would be the minimum for a splinter bid. Even if you play standard American and not 2/1, partner's response at the 2 level promises 10 or more high card points and that he will take another call. He promises you at least 10 high card points. And remember, lots and lots of times, even in standard American bidding, a 2/1 response will result in a game contract, even though the 2/1 bid is not forcing the game because it requires basically invitational level points. And very often, unless the opener is a dead minimum, his hand with an invitational hand will produce a game. So, South opens a heart, North bids 2 clubs, and look what South says. Look at this. I have 13 high card points and a diamond singleton, and I have 4 card club support. There's enough for game between the two of us. My partner has at least 4 clubs and probably has 5. But look at this. South has excellent support for the responder's hand and a singleton. And he can show that fit. This means that, well, I don't know if you have a heart fit with me, partner, but we definitely have a club fit, and I have shortness and diamonds besides. Well, some of you sitting north may be thinking, well, what if they only bid clubs because the hand was too good for any number of hearts? Now what do I do? Well, you still have double fit in hearts and clubs. How bad could it be? Just remember that splinter bids are forcing. You can either bid 4 hearts, or since you now know that there's a double fit, you might consider slam exploration. The requirements for a splinter by opener in a 2/1 auction, if you play 2/1, are nothing more than the common garden variety opening hand, assuming that it's worth at least 13 points total. Here's another example. 1 spade by South. North bids 2 clubs. South bids 4 diamonds. He says, partner, I have enough for game. We have enough for game between us. You bid clubs. I have at least 4 card support. Notice if you bid a 2 card club suit to try to force to game, you never know what your partner's going to do. Your partner's going to assume that you have at least 4 cards in the suit. So you got to be careful when you're doing stuff like bidding 2 card suits to try to establish a game force. That's not the best option. If you're not sure how to force, then we need to talk about 4th suit forcing here again one of these days. But South bids 4 diamonds, saying club fit, diamond shortness, and enough for game. If North doesn't have heart support or spade support, he may opt with good diamond. Oh no, we can't bid 3, no trump. If he has spade support, he'll correct to 4 spades. He'll bid on, knowing as much as he knows now. He knows that there are 5 spades in the hand, at least 4 clubs. and a diamond singleton. He knows that the hand is either 5-5, 5-2-1-5, or 5-3-1-4. He knows a lot about his partner's hand just because of that rebid. Splinters are very descriptive. Do they require practice to learn to use effectively? Of course they do. They're just like anything else, but they're not as scary as you might think. Now, we are almost at the end of the hour here, and I don't want to start this next subject. If you guys want to go into these exceptions, sometimes splintering is not a double jump. Sometimes it's a single jump. We could get very confused if we cover both of these in one session. So I'm going to stop it right here and let anybody ask any questions that they would like to, or if you have suggestions on other topics that you would like to discuss, I'm open to that as well. So have at it. Oh, Sherry, go right ahead.
So the one area that I get confused on is one time you said bid 4 no trump, and then another hand you said bid 5 clubs. So how do you know how to respond, whether it's, I'm assuming 4 no trump was Blackwood or
Yes,
14
well,
carry.
yeah. Remember, you can't use Blackwood if you have a worthless doubleton or a void in your hand. If you have a suit that has at least 2 fast losers in it, and you are missing more than 1 key card, then if partner shows you only 1 key card, you're not helped. In that instance, you need to know which key card partner holds, not how many. So in that case, well, and in most all cases, the answer is determined by what your hand looks like. Some people prefer to cue bid anyway. It's possible to arrive in a slam using nothing but cue bids, but it requires a fairly experienced pair to do that. If you don't have 2 fast losers in any of the side suits, then by all means bid 4 no trump. But remember the rule: if the answer to a question doesn't help you, don't ask the question. And when you have a void or a worthless side suit, that is a hand with at least 2 or more fast losers in it, some people call them silly side suits, or anyway, they're just suits with 2 quick losers in them. There's nothing more embarrassing than being in a slam and have the opponents take the first 2 aces on you, or the ace king in a suit, and there you are. You know, you look kind of foolish and you feel kind of foolish. But if you're missing more than 1 key card and you have a side suit that has at least 2 fast losers in it, cue bid. If you're missing only 1 key card, then you'll know the answer from a Blackwood inquiry. But if you have too many, if you're missing too many key cards, so that when your partner answers, it's possible that you still won't know what to do, then don't use Blackwood, because you're not going to be any better off than you are right now, and you're going to be up there at the 5 level, not the 4 level. You just have to take a deep breath and practice. When you have agreed the trump suit, after that, any new suit should be a cue bid. It's not an offer to play. Okay? Once you have set the trump suit, that's the trump suit. That used to confuse me a lot when I was less experienced. We'd agree a trump suit, and then all of a sudden my partner would bid another suit, and I'm thinking, oh, well, if it's at the 3 level, it's probably a game try of some sort, and if it's at the 4 level, it's a slam try. You can always go back to the trump suit if you're not sure what your partner is doing. Once you have agreed on the trump suit, you can always go back to it. Okay? Does that answer your question, Sherry?
Yes, thank you. That's very helpful.
Yeah. Anybody else have a question? Well, Patty, was this what you wanted to know about splinter bids?
Yes, but I think I might wait to use them.
Okay.
I'm a little more experienced.
Well, and it's just like any other new bid. Maybe initially you only want to use splinters by the responder after a major suit opening, and that's all. That's fine, you know. You don't have to adopt the whole thing, just like a lot of people use 1430, but they don't use the Queen Ask. I personally find the Queen Ask very helpful, but they don't want to add that yet, and that's fine. You know, you and your partner can agree to use everything in a convention or only parts of it. So, you know, don't be afraid to try it out slowly if you need to. So, all right. Well, thanks for coming this morning, everybody. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week if somebody doesn't give me an idea, but I'll find something if you don't.
Susan, before you go, Ella has her hand up.
Oh, I see. Yes. Yes, Ella.
Susan, thanks. When the responder says to no, you've shown quite a few points. Can you give me a point count on responders to no?
You mean one of a major, two no trump?
Yes.
Well, that's the Jacoby forcing raise. That means you have a hand with at least 13 total points in it, but there is no ceiling on it. You could have 21 points over there and still use Jacoby 2 no trump.
Thank you.
Susan,
Anybody
you mentioned you weren't going to get into the rest of the slides in this deck. Do you plan to cover them next week, or do you want to move on?
Well, there are not enough of them to cover a full hour next week. These are the exceptions, and they can be confusing, particularly if you're not very familiar with splinter bids. I put them in here because we have a number of people who have more points than I do who join us on these Saturday morning sessions. They're in here mostly for those folks.
Okay.
So if you guys want me to go into this, I will, but this is in here only if it's of interest to you. In other words, you don't have to go into all of this like second round splinter jumps by opener, particularly when they will take you past the game level and yada 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 yada.
Yeah. I think this is plenty. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, I thought so. All right. Well, remember, if you have any suggestions or subjects that you'd like to cover, or if you just want a review of a subject or some clarification, maybe you like bidding quizzes, or what does this bid mean here, or what does this auction mean? What does this bid mean in this auction? Let me know. I mean, I can usually put together some of those without too much trouble as well. So let me know what you'd like to do.
Thanks very much, Susan.
Thanks, Susie. And I'm all for forcing bids.
Oh, forcing bids. Okay, we could. I'm sure I have something, lots of things somewhere on forcing bids. I do, definitely.
Well, we appreciate you, Susie. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.